we focus on helping you claim what's rightfully yours, your health and your freedom. We explore the three main areas of health: the physical realm, the biochemical realm, and the mental and emotional realm. We also explore all the areas of lifestyle we can find that will help you live more abundantly, regardless of where you're starting. And remember, in life, you'll either make excuses or create results. You choose. I'm your host, Dr. Josh Hant, and I'm glad to be with you here today. Make sure to head on down to the show notes and click on the link to join our tribe of human-powered life heroes, where we'll update you on new shows, events, product launches, and so much more. Now, it's time to enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Human Power Life podcast. We have an amazing guest today. This is Dr. Patrick Porter. This guy's been in my ears for over a year now, literally. You're going to learn out how and why. So Dr. Patrick, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, Josh. It's great to be here.
I'm excited to have you. You know, I've been using your technology, BrainTap, for just about maybe just under a year now. I absolutely love it. I was connected at Life University through my parents, through you. So it was a great toy, and I have mine right here, you know, and I'll share it with people as we go forward. But what I would love for you to start with, because this is a new concept for many people that are probably going to be listening, using technology to help with meditation or just connecting and enhancing brain function. So give us a little bit of your background and then pull us into the BrainTap world.
Right. Well, it started actually when I was a child. My dad was a Silva instructor, which was a mind program that taught people how to use more of their mind's potential. And he did that because he was a chronic alcoholic. So once he got help, he became an instructor. So I grew up going to seminars and teaching people how to do this. So
okay.
You can say it's kind of in my DNA now. I was a struggling student before my dad got involved. I actually was held back in second grade. I was one of those kids who was in the special reading, special math. But after my dad taught me how to use the Silva sound, which is for those that are following sound frequencies, it's an isochronic tone that basically balances the hemispheres. It's a mono instead of like binaural beats, which is a stereo signal. And so I've always been interested in that. I went to school for electronics and then just kept doing things with my dad. And then I really fell into what I like to call a divine appointment, where I met the people with light and sound research back in the 80s. And we invented together the very first portable light and sound machine. So and that was kind of an accident too, because it was just a prototype and we couldn't figure out how to make the bigger model, which was $10,000. And I said, well, let's make some of these prototypes and sell them because we don't have any money, you know, and they worked, but they were just little things. And we were making this big machine. It was about the size of a microwave. And then we found out, hey, this is something people can use at home. So it kind of started the whole thing. BrainTap actually came around after I sold my franchise company where we were selling the others. And then in 2014, I started BrainTap because I wanted to put it all into one place. If those that might know me or follow the technology know that it was about 4 different pieces of technology. Now because of everything electronics getting smaller, you know, the first MP3 player was like a brick. Now we put it in, it's all in our phone, our camera, you know, all that. So we are able to put it all in the headset. And now we've just been looking at what complementary therapies can we all put together, because the 5 therapies that we have in the headset are all very good on their own, but they have a synergizing effect when you use them together. So that's what we did, is we put them together and we created a very specific algorithm using light, sound, and vibration that trains the brain. And we're very fortunate nowadays, unlike in the 80s when we couldn't really measure it. There's no neurofeedback back then. So people are wondering, you know, what were you doing? We only could use basically breathing, you know, respiration, heartbeat, skin temperature. We didn't have the brain waves at that point, but we knew if the body was relaxed, we were probably in alpha. Now we know specifically what brain waves. And so we have a lot of research now that's proving the efficacy of this kind of therapy.
So when we talk about using BrainTap and this technology, so we can bring people into the fold, so go over the 5 different pieces that impact our brain that you're essentially using the technology teaching people.
Yeah. Well, number one, we use sound in the form of isochronic tones and binaural beats. These are both been researched, and they work very well to change brain states. But we use two of them because not everybody has perfect hearing. And for binaural beats to work, you have to have matched hearing, which about almost 40% of the people out there don't have matched hearing. They hear differently out of their right ear and their left ear. So what we've done to compensate that is we created a mono sound, which is an isochronic tone. So you want me to explain what both those do?
Okay. Definitely.
So binaural beats work on a principle, and it's been researched since the 1800s. So this isn't a new technology. What's new is how we put it together. But let's say we want to get a 10 hertz frequency. We can put a 300 hertz frequency in one ear, a 310 in the other. What happens then, the brain doesn't hear 300 or 310. It hears a phantom sound of 10 hertz. Now, if they're a little off, it's not going to be perfectly tuned. So what we did is we laid in a mono track that can be played that matches it. So it's like going to the symphony, and you might hear the violas, and those don't sound as good if you don't have the violins playing with them. So think of it kind of like we put those two together. And then what we've done, the next one is we have included music. Music has been well researched that it has a lot of healing potential and calming potential for the nervous system. They actually call it the Mozart effect. When you use certain music that has a beat frequency of 10 hertz, which happens to be alpha, then the brain will synchronize and people become smarter. That's what the research shows just by listening to this music. You don't learn anything new. Your brain just operates better. So we've taken a page out of that, and we've used that type of music, and we encode it to be the third thing is we use a frequency. In that the frequency changes, like in the ear lights. When you look at the lights, people go, why do you have lights in the ears? Well, every cell of your body has chromophores or batteries that store energy, and it gets it from light, sound, and vibration. So we're feeding it that, but also those lights are changing every 2 minutes to a different Nogier frequency. There's 7 frequencies of the body, and when they're tuned up and they're working right, we're healthy. When one of them's out of tune, and this is Dr. Nogier he basically did a lot with iridology, which is he didn't invent it because they had it 10,000 years ago in China and in India. But what he did was he rediscovered it and made it so that science knew what was happening. So through the ears, we have photobiomodulation. So when we do that, we're going to send energy through the body, through the ears. And that's because all the meridians, all the junction points, like yourself as a doctor of chiropractic, you might use a laser and you could hit acupuncture points in the ears to affect different regions of the body. What we've done is we've put 9 LEDs in with a light dose that takes about 20 minutes to give you the equivalency of a 3-minute laser. So, but it's low level light, it's not laser. And then we also have lights in the eyes. Then that's all part of the photobiomodulation piece. Those lights in the eyes are actually using Earth frequencies. So, for instance, if you and I were to travel to Earth on a spaceship, we would look at Earth and we would say, hey, that's vibrating between 0.05 and 100. So these are the frequencies our body is used to being in. And so then the fifth one that we do is language. Spoken word. And we know that all of these change genetic expression, but words can change 2,300 gene expressions just by using the right words and the right sequence. We can change the way somebody shows up genetically so that their epigenetics, which is what happens every 40 seconds, which I can explain later if we want to delve down that rabbit hole. But the reality is that our body is constantly in flow, in change at a rate of about, every genetic pair is adapting every 40 seconds.
Wow. Yeah. And that's so epigenetics, everyone. I know we've mentioned this in the past, is, how the environment, internal and external, affects the way the genes express. So it's powerful. So I have mine here, my brain tap here. And for those that are watching, it's hard to me to angle this the right way, but you can see we have, right, the LEDs. I can't turn this on, the actual headset on, but there's the bulbs. And it's pretty wild. And I was going to ask you about the photobiomodulation, the lights in the ears and the different frequencies. Is the frequency equivalent to the color that comes out?
There are frequencies of light that's 470 nanometer light and 650 nanometer light, but it also is pulsating. It's pulsing, but it's pulsing so quickly we don't see it with our human eye because it changes from like 187 pulses per second to over 1,000. So it's so fast, but our brain actually interprets that, and our nervous system responds to those frequencies. Like one is to turn off sympathetic overload and turn on the parasympathetic system. And then there's others that are about just bringing the nervous system online and bringing the balance. There's 7 different ones that Dr. Nogier talks about.
Okay. Can we break it down to, I'll call like the 6th grade level? When I got this device, when I got the Brain Tap, I had to get the app on my phone, connect it, and sit and meditate morning or evening or both, sometimes like 2 or 3 times a day. From like, I think I've done as short as like 10 or 11 or 12 minutes, all the way up to, I think, just a harmonic sound for like 33 or 35 minutes. Can you go through like who this might actually be for? Why would someone actually want to use this and like access this versus saying, hey, let me just sit down and meditate?
Right. In the history of time, I've only seen 3 people that have beat the Brain Tap in nervous system function after doing a meditation. And those 3 were gurus in India. So I've never met a person at any show. And we've measured about 30,000 brains in the last 10 years. And the reason for that is when we close our eyes to meditate on our own, our hearing is actually 30% visual, which means that our eyes control what we hear. And we've all had the experience of being at a lecture. We couldn't hear the lecturer at church, and then we adjust our line of sight. Now we can see the person. Now we can hear them. That's because that activates our primitive reflexes. And we're hearing 25,000 pieces of information at all times. That's why if you've ever studied like TM, they tell you to wear earmuffs, because they want you to cancel out all that noise, because your brain is processing it all. And the eyes are processing 2,000 pieces of information every second. So all that information is being dumped into the central nervous system, and the default mode network is organizing it, not your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is busy worrying about if your girlfriend's going to call you, or if you're going to have dinner tonight, or, if this TV show is going to get canceled. All these really important things the conscious mind does. So what's happening here when we meditate, usually what happens is our default mode network shows up. This is our self-dialogue. In the averages, we have 80,000 thoughts a day. 60,000 of them are negative. Now, that's not to say everyone is negative. This is because these bodies, even though we think we've evolved, they're still 10,000 years in the past, at least, maybe more than that. And we're living in this modern society that we've only been around for about 100 years, and really the technology for about 30 years. Our body doesn't know what the heck's going on. So we sit down to relax, and now we get a chance to hear our internal dialogue. The average is only 5% of people that start meditating continue meditating. Those 5%. Statistics are scary. It's like the same statistics as chiropractic, which is scary. I mean, people should be doing both of those all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So we have a real issue there. The problem is that people aren't getting the benefit. They think there's a saying, there is no there. And what that means in the Zen kind of philosophy is you're never going to become, quote, enlightened. Like people think, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to be this enlightened being like Buddha. That's not what you're meditating for. That's why we term it brain fitness now, because the reality is that we want the benefits of meditation. We don't need the religious or spiritual side of it as much. That's just part of our nature. We want to have the physiological benefits of meditation, which is how do we downregulate our nervous system? This frees up our body to heal, because if we don't get in that rest, digest response, the body isn't going to heal. We're not going to metabolize our nutrients. So the biggest benefit is we can literally train the brain where you can't do that on your own. It takes 30 years. If you go to learn with a real guru in India, you're not going to go and pay it. It doesn't matter how much you pay them. You can't speed up enlightenment.
Yeah.
In America, of course, we want it fast and we want it
yesterday.
Easy. But the reality is we want an immediate benefit. Brain Tap gives you an immediate benefit. Usually, if you are at a show like this year at Life, if you're going to be there, we're going to be there again. We have a piece of technology where we can measure the nervous system. We can have 9 different parameters. We can show you pre and post. We've actually presented it to the National Institute of Health. They were blown away. And they're actually helping us write a grant for $3 million to show not Brain Tap as much as our NeuroCheck technology, because we can prove out any alternative medicine practice to see if it's affecting the nervous system. And so they don't have anything like that. We have HRV, but we have actually, that's only one of the 9 parameters. we have 9 different parameters. And so we've never seen anything get the body to respond like BrainTap does. The closest thing is a chiropractic adjustment.
Wow,
That's the closest thing we've ever tested.
Yeah, that's really neat. So I know everybody's now like really interested. If you're not watching the video, didn't get to see the piece of technology. So with BrainTap, but like I said in the beginning, I've had you in my ears for almost a year now.
Yeah.
What, if I want to be, I want to have this brain fitness, and I get the app, I get the technology. I know there's so much in there. I mean, I've scrolled and scrolled and scrolled. It's almost endless at this point. Is there a strategy for someone that says, you know what, I'm all in, I want to learn more, I want to get my BrainTap, and then they just look at this thing and look into overwhelm, going, holy crap, there's so much.
If you now look on, if you have Power User, which is one of the tabs, and
yes,
we are coming out with a new app, which will be out in the next month, which will organize these things even easier. Everybody will have access to everything I'm talking about. And so there's one at the top that's called Jumpstart, 21-day Jumpstart. That's what we recommend people do that don't know where they want to go. And the reason is I've actually selected morning, afternoon, and evening sessions. And those were the sessions we used in most of our research. So when somebody reads our research packet and they go, what did you use? Well, we used standardized sessions. Of course, you can get better results if you're picking them out. So let's say that you have an issue with, or you want to improve your golf game.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
See it, but yeah.
So with your, like the program we did with the Seminole golf team, where they're 3 years in a row national champions. They actually have a BrainTap lab now, and they gave us a page on their website because that group has the highest GPA in the school because they're using and they're on the golf team. Now we're working with more of their sports teams, but the reality is that no matter if you want to improve a habit, like let's say you want to lose weight, stop smoking, whatever it is, we have sessions for those things because that's what most of our clinics, the doctors that are using it in their clinics, they put together, and then they can package that with nutrition and supplementation that they feel is going to help them. And then we also have it for improvement. Like we have Olympic athletes, pro sports teams, football, soccer, hockey, all of those teams. So really the whole thing is why there's so many, when you go into the power user side or what's going to be called playlist now or bundles, you'll see that they're in order. There's a number system. You want to start at number 1 and move through because each one trains your brain. Now, once you've gone through one series, like once you've done about, 20 sessions, it really doesn't matter anymore. It's kind of like learning a dance move. Once you know the moves, your brain knows those moves, you can kind of move in and out. But at first you might find, hey, that one was a little too fast. That was a little too slow, because morning sessions, if you're a person that you stumble to the coffee machine to get your coffee in the morning to get started, you have a nervous system issue because you just slept all night. Why do you need coffee to wake you up? Your nervous system should have woke you up and you should have been energized. So what we recommend you do is what we call an AM program or a wake up session. We have those bundles. And what that does, it excites a brainwave called SMR, sensory motor rhythm. That is the brainwave for those of us that are getting better looking, more intelligent with age, that atrophies as we age. So you want to make sure that that's the one, and also stress hampers that, because that's the one that really helps the hippocampus. And the hippocampus is a part of our brain that brings us long-term memories and gives us short-term information burst, but it also takes all of our data from the day and processes it into long-term memories. So if we're stressed, it's not going to sort, organize, and then deliver that information as efficiently as if we were relaxed doing it.
Yeah, that's really, really neat. And with all of, you said you've measured over 30,000 brains in the past couple of years. What are some of the, I say, testimonials, positive outcomes that either an athlete or performance, or even, a person that may have some kind of health condition, what kind of results are you seeing?
Yeah, we have incredible amount online if somebody did #BrainTap, but the one that comes to mind is Corey Anderson, who's a middleweight MMA fighter. He was on ESPN. And he knocked his guy out in 42 seconds. And when they interviewed him on ESPN, they said, when did you know you were going to, knock him out in 42 seconds? He says, well, I knew in my locker room. He said, I was listening to my BrainTap, and I was listening to Step in the Spotlight of My Life, and I saw myself knock him out in 42 seconds. So
Yeah,
our
the
phones lit up on
manifestation.
that.
Wow.
So we have a lot of boxers, MMA fighters, and UFC people, mainly for neuroprotectiveness, but he used it to improve his sport. We have her name is Kathy, but I don't remember her last name. She's an Olympian 800-meter runner, and she had never made it to the finals of any international meet. She did really well while she was in the U.S. doing things. At the last Olympics, she was the first U.S. woman 800-meter runner to make it to the finals in over 30 years.
Hey, we're giving you a short break here where you can head down to the show notes or lifestylelocker.com and join our tribe of human-powered life heroes. You'll be the first to know about new shows, events, product launches, affiliate specials, and more. And now, back to the show. Wow.
And she gives credit to BrainTap because it was all mental. She always ran those speeds, but she could never do it in competition. So we also have a lot of people that, like when we were featured in People magazine, we have articles of people that are lost 100 pounds, kept it off for more than 5 years. They're always commenting, and things like that. We have a Carol Hooper that's always commenting on our site. She lost 130 pounds over 15 years ago. She's still
wow, that's amazing.
So, one thing is when you change your mind, a lot of people think it's all about food, that has a lot to do with it, obviously, because food is important. But the reality is it's not always what you eat, it's what's eating you. So if you can find out the root cause and then eat correctly, you get this synergizing effect that helps you to be healthy.
Yeah, it's a brain first focus, right? Yes. Which is so important. So what I want to ask you next is, where's the best place for people to find, more information? I know this is a short dose of information. Yeah. Where can people get more details?
They go to Dr. Patrick Porter. That's my website, Dr. Patrick Porter. It has links back to BrainTap, but it also has a lot of videos that I've done, short videos that are 3 and 4 minutes long. From there, they can get to my YouTube channel, my Instagram. I'm always interviewing people. Like we're just putting together, when you said there's more, we're putting together a whole biohacking bundle because we're working with Dave Asprey and his group with most every biohacker out there that's on the stage at his event are using BrainTap. So we put together their, because it's a way to deliver information too. If they've ever looked up Quantum University, they're out of Hawaii. I'm the dean of brain-based medicine there, and we've converted a lot of that college course to BrainTap course material. So instead of learning in the old-fashioned way, like in the 1800s, like most of our schools, we've accelerated their learning, their capacity to recall the information, because we train people to get their ND, their natural medicine degree, and then they sit for boards after that.
Yeah, that's really neat. It's interesting. I'm just thinking back to me going. I was a terrible high school student. I was an athlete though. I was good at the sport I played. I was an alpine skier and played baseball. But into chiro school and undergrad, I realized if I wanted to make it through, I'd actually have to study. And what my father was really good at, he's been studying, binaural beats and I guess Mozart, all this this classical music, and he found something, maybe hemisync at the time. This is going back like 20 or 30 years ago. And I would study like 26-minute intervals. Yeah. And I went from, barely a 2.5, if that was lucky, GPA to almost a 4.0. And I completely, say that it's, the way I studied with the technology, even though it was just headphones at the time. So this is like on steroids, if you will, without the illegal portion of it.
Yes. Yeah. We should also tell the people that if you have a child that's not sleeping well, you can play that music on low in their bedroom and their brain will synchronize and they'll sleep. Because a lot of kids are having problems sleeping right now. So they've also done some studies with that music for sleep for kids.
Okay. So actually, I want to ask that. I was thinking this as I use my mostly morning and afternoon if I use it 2 times a day. Very rarely would I use it in the evening. My only concern or my thought, and hopefully you'll break this myth in my head, is, having blue lights in my eyes before bed is not a great thing. I'm sure you've been asked this before.
Yeah, that's not actually true. For 20% of the population, they could have a problem, but we're only using 8 LEDs. So the level of light, it's more the energy. The computer screen you're looking at, it probably has 100 times or 1,000 times more blue light than that LED. But we also have done studies. We have a study from Australia that showed a 70% improvement in sleep scores in 3 weeks with the headset. And it took 6 weeks when they just used the app alone. So a lot of people talk about, and it's not, Our blue light is 470 nanometer tuned light, and it's flashing at an earth frequency. So there's something to be said about that. Now, eventually, if somebody's listening to this in the future, all of our sessions are encoded for full spectrum light. We're just waiting for the technology to be available so we can put it into our headset. So that means at night, we're going to have more green light, which turns off the brain.
Cool.
I mean, right now that's where the technology's at. But as soon as we can do that, we've already encoded it. It's already been laid down. So
Cool.
Once we get that technology, I know it's going to be around. We've done it before, but then Apple unfortunately came out with their iPad and took all the oscillating chips I needed, and they went from 30 cents to over $4.
Oh.
So we need 8 of those. So that would have changed the pricing on our equipment.
Okay. That's so cool that you're saying not only in the we'll call it the research of people's brain health, but in how technology can actually follow that and improve upon it. It's like almost you mentioned Dave Asprey and biohacking. This sounds like a pretty amazing biohack across the board for performance, health, you name it. So yeah.
The biggest thing you find with the hackers, these biohackers, is their sleep score. And we know that if you can get your sleep improved, then all of your other superpowers are more engaged during the next day. You can think better,
so
better perform.
I think you're going to convince me to actually use this in the evening. I'm going to give my first round this evening for sleep, because I track as well. I track sleep with the Oura Ring, and I want to see, like, obviously how well it helps. I know it's not going to be necessarily an overnight one time, but I'm sure we'll have some impact.
Some people actually just use earbuds at night too. So you might find you have dark eyes, but somebody out there has blue or green eyes. That means you're going to bring in more light into your brain. So those are the people that need to be more concerned. The lighter your eyes, the more you should be concerned about bringing that in. Dark-eyed people like myself and yourself there, we don't have to worry too much. We're already protected because we need more light. We don't need less. So I do have my glasses down here that I wear sometimes when I'm talking. These are my glasses. And if I'm using it at night, because the computer screen does have a lot of blue light, especially if I'm going to be working after 10 o'clock on a project, I pull out those lights because it will affect your sleep.
Yeah, for sure. So everybody, make sure you head over to drpatrickporter.com. We'll have the links in the show notes. Definitely check out Brain Tap. I'm going to highly encourage everybody, and he has a gift for everybody. I believe it's 15-day free trial. We'll put the link down below as well, so you can test with headphones, at least just test the audio out. I've had many of friends actually purchase the unit that absolutely love it. They tried mine at a seminar, just sitting in the back of a room, and like, oh my God, I need to get this thing. We're ordering it on the spot. So I encourage everybody to definitely check in, get the free app for those 15 days. And I wouldn't be surprised if you're going to dive right in because of the results you're going to get. So Dr. Patrick Porter, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to let everybody know we're going to just stay here, and you're going to actually scroll down and click the link to go to the next section, which is going to be video only. We're going to spend about 5 to 10 minutes there. Dr. Patrick.
They also get a copy of my book, Thrive in Overdrive. So
there we go.
Part of that link so they can learn more about it.
Okay, perfect. All right, everybody, the book and the audio. Thank you so much, Dr. Patrick. Mm-hmm. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Human Powered Life podcast. Make sure to head over to lifestylelocker.com to check out all the details on the show and to watch part 2 of this episode, which is only in video format. We also have this audio portion in video format if you want. Once again, I'm your host, Dr. Josh Hant, for the Human Powered Life podcast, and I'm looking forward to staying connected with you as a Human Powered Life hero. Remember to join the tribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.